Okay, so where are we at? I bought some. Forgot to mention. I bought some pieces like this, 1x8 tile, which I replaced on the bottom of the side skirts because they were black, and I wanted it to carry through white. It just look better, being part of the bodywork. I was going to do that for the front here, but I don't have. I can't find like these ones on the corner. It's basically a 1x2 with a stud on one side, which is the side that's straight, and then the side that curved doesn't have anything there. And you can kind of, maybe you can kind of see that. It's got a hollow spot right there. And I don't know if Slaco makes a piece like that. So I don't know. That's going to be problematic unless I use just a straight tile, but then I don't know if I want that corner to be that, angle, straight corner, like a right angle. We'll see. I can go with this being black for now. I'll look into changing it white later, but I at least did that. So I think that looks better, cleaner, and it just drops the body lower too. I decided to go with the painted windshield that originally it was white, and so I painted it, and I think I'm going to go with that. It's not as smooth. It's not bad, but it could be smoother just a bit, but it's not as smooth as this piece that I got off Bricklink, which actually was pretty nice, but then I noticed that this windshield, like the part right here, is black. Doesn't quite match what's on the Acura. It should be like it should curve like this instead of straight or kind of arched curve or arched down towards the edge like that. That goes for a different style of car, and that also brings that window line below the door, which doesn't look right. If you look at, I know this is just a Hot Wheel, but it's close enough. And you look at this, the way the window line is, it doesn't curve down. If anything, it curves back a bit. And you can see that in the real car, so that would be better match. And so I'll just leave it at that. But I think overall it still works with, the size that I made. It's not as, I think the other one just looks tighter, just because it's darker and it creates more of a, it goes from black to smoke, and then that still creates like a darker shadow underneath, like that edge. So then that kind of fills in that ever small gap that might be there, but that's fine. Overall, it still works pretty well. And I've been working on redoing the hood too. This originally this piece, well, you can see on the deck, this was across here, well, on this level, and then this piece was forward. Well, actually, it used to be. I actually had cut off the front of it. Let me see something. If I can find it real quickly. So it used to be like this, and it started from right there, and then it went up to actually right there, and this was a 2x2 square that was here to meet up with that, and so that lets the, there's a vent that comes out of here on the hood of the NSX, right? There's something like that there, but where that would be, I looked at it, it's too low. It would make that the start of the vent in line, if not below the line of the headlights, and that's too far forward. If anything, it's at least a little bit back, like right about here. So I needed to move it back, and so basically I did two things. So I ordered a piece. I actually don't have one right now, but for now I'm just using two 1x3s, but I'm going to eventually get a a solid 2x3 here just to clean it up so it's not so many lines. It'll be like one solid piece here at least. And then these will be still this 1x4s. And then what I did to achieve this look here was I basically took my trusty little Tamiya saw blade and I just basically backed it up against inside here and cut down to shave off this bottom part. And then I left, basically, if I can point this out, I basically left like from the bottom here all the way across. So it just, I somehow cut it really straight. I just used this backing as against the saw as a kind of a jig to keep it straight, and just kept pushing, sawing it down this way, and then just cut right to somewhere here. Basically, it was a straight cut, as you can see, and then that's how I ended up with that, which is pretty good, considering I was actually cutting blind because I was trying to stabilize it and cut it down like this direction. Just hold it with my fingers and then just run the small saw right in between, and that's basically what I did. And so I got a custom piece so that way I could move this back and then leave an air vent, because originally I was going to cut that part off and then cut it off like right here, so it's only one stud, about one stud section long, like up to here, and then place it right up in there and leave that straight piece. But then I was thinking, looking at this, there's not enough of an angle or curvature down. You'll see something, but you know what I mean? It's like the vent won't look that deep. It doesn't look like it's really going down into the car as much, or out of it rather, because I think the air actually flows out of it from the front. Channels through here somehow and goes out, right? I think that's how that works, the aerodynamics work. But anyways, it wouldn't have been enough. It was a little something going in here, but it would almost be like a flat tile was there with just a slight, indentation. So I wanted to, bring that out more. So this is a way to do it. And there was a piece. These were originally underneath here. Two of them, like this, are underneath here, right? And since I knew this was going to show part of this, I didn't want that to be white. I'd rather it be black, just so it looks more like a vent, And to do that, I had to, not only did I switch these to black ones underneath there, but on top of that, just to be sure, the way this comes down, it would run into these studs right here, so it wouldn't be able to be flush like this, obviously. So I needed to make a clearance, so I basically took a razor blade and chopped off these two studs, one in here, one in here. Then I just wet sanded it as smooth as possible to get rid of those rings, and then there we go. I cleared the path for this piece to lay perfectly flat into it. Probably, you can see where it would have ended up, and or it does end up, and it was pretty matte finished because of the sanding, and I didn't want to polish it, so I just cut like a piece of black adhesive vinyl, shiny, to basically that size that this area would cover, which is basically, I believe, 16 millimeters by 8 millimeters tall, and just cut a little rectangle piece like that and slapped it in there. You can see that's where it's at, and I took care of that. So yeah, I mean, in one sense it would have been fine to leave it matte, because it's kind of a vent and engine part, but to match the aesthetics of the Lego and this brick built stuff, which is primarily shiny, I wanted to just keep it shiny too. So there you go. So I have it. So this looks like it's going to work pretty good now. I just need to get this piece as a solid 2x3, which should be in about 2 days. 1 day now. It'll be on Saturday. Today's Friday morning at 1 a.m. need to get to bed. So that's how the mods are going, but it's coming along pretty good. I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, it would have been nice to use this. I kind of like the stealthy tint, and it's so dark this may not matter that much, to be honest, but I was like, well, I know that it's not the right shape when I look at it. You know, even though it's pretty dark and it's not as easy to see this right now as you do against this light background, but once it's over inside there, it's quite dark, as you can imagine. I know that this line across the window isn't quite the right curvature, cutout, or shape. It should go back like this. So, yeah, that's fine. And also, there's a little bit of a. You can see it's not completely opaque here. There's some sort of something missing going on right in there. Then not completely opaque. So it's not the best paint job on there, anyways. It's a little bit messed up, but it's not super obvious, and so I'm not tripping about that. But then there's this transparent area here, so this covers it, and then now I don't have to worry about that. What else should I do? I really would like to paint the mirrors in here silver. Be careful about. I'll see how I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'll get some silver paint markers or something and try to color that in, or some chrome or something. Not in a rush. Don't really see it. Not a big deal. Again, these were pretty cool. I think I pointed out at the beginning that how they basically, this was attached to the underside, holding these pieces together. There's one each, and so I think they put it somewhere where they could print it together as one piece. So you definitely got the perfect alignment, which is cool. And then basically, as you can see here, you take that used to go here, well, you take it out and you basically trash it, but you're not gonna throw it away, but basically, I mean, you don't need it anymore. You can use that for something else. So, and then you just add this piece to the front to connect it, and then you drop it into the front here, and you know, basically the same on this side. These pieces, so yeah, see, and then there you go. And you can see here again, even here you can see where that window would have been, and then there's that gap that you see that's kind of red, that's showing through the seats that are in the back. You don't get that now because I fixed that, and you can see what I did with it. I chopped off the top, but no big deal. The interior wasn't that great to look at anyways, because you're gonna see like those anti-studs right inside there anyways. It just, yeah, at least on the outside, which is the most important part, that part is covered. Now it looks like right, because when that was opened up from a distance, that just kind of carries the window line down into the door more, and that makes it, that doesn't look right. I think that's it for now. I got these wheels going. I was going to put them on, but then I was thinking, do I want to use the white wheels? They'd probably be cool. I just had a moment to think whether I should paint these silver, which is always good too. Just a nice silver metallic rim, set of wheels. Or I think conversely, it could look pretty sporty too if you did these in black. Stuck to it. I don't know. Maybe I could paint them black. That could be pretty sporty too. But I don't know. The white on white look is the NSX look anyways. Although these should be, if they were this ones that would come on the car, they should be like the 7-spoke ones that they come with. Which I wish they would have made an effort to make. I don't know if this Power Bricks sells rims separately. That would be cool. Or if another model kit set that they have has something closer to what this would actually come with, which would be 7-spoke wheels. But I mean, these, you can imagine, these probably wouldn't be too bad in white on this. But something to think about. And I just realized the back isn't the most accurate, but I don't think I want to do too much to tear it up. I'll just consider this kind of a body kit. But actually, the bumper should actually come across here, which I don't think I can do unless, actually there is one thing I could do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I take a 1x6 of one of these, again, it requires some custom cutting, but if I notch out that space here, that would look proper. That's a quick fix. And again, this shouldn't be, I don't know, this is where the license plate would be, but they decided to make it yellow. And I don't know if I want to get, I recall there's a lot of pieces stacked in here. So it may not be such a straightforward thing. I might just leave that so it stands out, or I might just cover it up with a piece of vinyl too later on. Just some black. Not a big deal. That's an easy fix. I don't have to necessarily take the bricks out for those. Since just so that we can keep this solid, hold on. I think, I don't know why they decide to use this instead of a square, like one of these here. Maybe it was because of this. I mean, this would have fit on it too, like that. So, so I'm gonna pull this out and I'm gonna replace it. Then that way there won't be a break in the back, right? This should be straight across. It's kind of funny that they didn't decide to do that. Hang on a second. There we go. So, seems like, I'm not sure why it's not in the same line as these. Maybe because these are tiles. They have a slight like edge or bevel on the underside as compared to this, but I don't know. Still, I think that looks better than what the heck is that piece go? I think, where the hell did I put it? Oh yeah. Than this, because that just rounds out and just cuts into the line in the back, which should be fairly clean and straight across. At least from this angle, you don't see as much of a break in there. It looks more uniform, is what I wanted to say. So anyways, these are just the little things I catch. So yeah, since maybe I can find a 1x6 custom carefully cut out this part of it so that there's a little edge here to bridge, because otherwise there's no ways that I could kind of fix that I can think of that otherwise easily. Yeah. I even forget why this is here too. This little, maybe this different, but whatever. That's pretty superficial, small area. I'm not too worried about, but this break in the bumper does look weird. I don't know. It's just going to take some careful measurements to make sure I hit that exactly centered with a cutout. And then take these two out and slap it in. And I think that'll look more complete. Like that. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I fixed these exhaust tips. They stick out ever so much. They're a little bit, but at least it's on these pieces, right? You can see much more solid. Just stick them in to there. And instead of them, if you might recall, they were clipped in the end of the exhaust has this little point that was clipped into here, but because of the width of the main tube on the outside, it would hit this part, so it couldn't sit flush. It would be actually angled downwards, because this would be angled downwards, and then I would have to either try to snap, press them in partially, which is not a very stable idea, and they can easily just get knocked and out of alignment anyways because of that, or just knocked off, snap off altogether because they're not fully seated inside this clip, this piece here. So I said, forget it. And then I looked around and I was like, you know what, this other piece here would work. and that's what I did. So much better. I don't know why they decided to use that. That really doesn't fit perfectly, and this works better. So I think going along pretty good. Project NSX. Yeah. And again, I was just deciding whether I want to stick with white wheels or paint them silver or black. And again, figuring out the spoiler situation, which I basically know what I'm going to do. I just have to, that's another example of custom cutting to get, this should basically be the same width, but to push these to the outside, there's two things though. If I decide to trim it enough so that, and glue it to the inside so that this butts up more close against here, so there's really not a gap running through the middle between that piece, I could do that. But the problem is potentially right here. I'm not sure I would fix this. This piece here, there's going to be kind of a hole right here. I'm not sure I can fill that up other than maybe to put in a square stud. But then it'll be just kind of sticking out. I would rather have it flush. And there's, that's going to take a lot of custom cutting. I mean, either I can try to remove whatever's that piece and that, of course, that stud that's holding this black piece on the side end. You get rid of those, just leave these, and however I glue them on. But then if I remove that, can I add like a 1x2 plate across this way? Not without. There's still going to be a gap here, though. That's the thing. Not without having to either cut part of that or cut part of this for them, because they're going to interfere with each other. So what am I going to do? I can't push this out any wider. At least I don't want to. My only thought to addressing this potentially is maybe I might just have to leave this the way it is here, and then what I'm going to do is just knock off the edge of this 1x6, just cut it shorter so that it fits in between here as is, and I can lock it down. And I wouldn't have to glue it either. It should just, although it would be good to have it really tight so that there's no gap whatsoever, especially if I somehow don't cut it straight, but I hope I do. Yeah, so I think that's what I might do. This bit here, this bit of work, and I might have to just make a small compromise in this build, and just at least remove two of the gaps that was between this. It was on here between these two pieces, and then that would cover it, because this you don't see as much, and it's more important that this black looks continuous. It's going to be one section, and then this, well, it's not connected, but from most angles you almost can't see it except directly in back, or somehow directly in front or on top like that with it. But most times it'll be at an angle viewed, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay,